So today, just for the sake of putting a new video up, I'm going to, now, as heathens, I'm sure we all know what the Havamal is. It's a book of proverbs and basically guide to living. It's just words passed down by Odin. The Havamal meaning the words or speech of the High One. So let's get going with this, huh? First stanza of the Havamal says, "Within the gates ere a man shall go, full long let him look about him, for little he knows where a foe may lurk, and sit in the seats within." Now this is basically advice for coming to a place where you haven't been before. Watch your back. Go in, look around, watch out, because you don't know who you can trust. You don't know who's an enemy and who's a friend. Now, the second stanza says, "Hail to the giver, a guest has come. Where shall the stranger sit? Swift shall he be who with sword shall try the proof of his might to make." This basically says, coming to a new place, don't act tougher than you are. Don't try to back your words up with a sword, or you're going to cause more trouble than your stance is worth. Fire he needs who with frozen knees has come from the cold without. Food and clothes must a farer have, the man from the mountains come. Water and towels at welcoming speech should he find who comes to the feast. If renown he would get and again be greeted, wisely and well must he act. Now, these two stanzas have to do with hospitality. Fire he needs who with frozen knees has come from the cold without. He's saying, if a man comes to your door who is struggling, cold, hungry, you never turn him away from your door. You always help a guest, no matter what. The fifth stanza, "Wits must he have who wanders wide, but all is easy at home. At the witless man the wise shall wink, when among such men he sits." Now, this one is harder to understand in this translation, the Bellows translation. But basically what it's saying is, if a stupid man is among wise men, they're all going to laugh at him, and he's not going to know about it. It goes on to explain further in the sixth stanza when it says, "A man shall not boast of his keenness of mind, but keep it close in his breast. To the silent and wise does ill come seldom when he goes as a guest to a house." Now, that is more in depth. It's easier to understand. It says, don't brag about how smart you are when you go somewhere to be amongst other people. It's essentially an older version of the famous Mark Twain quote. It's better to be silent and have people think you're stupid than to open your mouth and prove it. The knowing guest who goes to the feast in silent attention sits. With his ears he hears, with his eyes he watches, thus wary are wise men all. This is kind of a combination of the fifth and sixth stanzas and the first stanza. Sit and be silent, watch, hear what other people have to say, and always pay attention, because that's the proof of a truly wise man. Happy the one who wins for himself favor and praises fair, less safe by far is the wisdom found that is hid in another's heart. Happy the man who has while he lives wisdom and praise as well, for evil counsel a man full oft has from another's heart. When it really comes down to it, only trust yourself. You don't know what agenda another person has. Says, for evil counsel a man full oft has from another's heart. A person whose agenda is different from yours won't always give you the best advice. A better burden may no man bear, for wanderings wide than wisdom. It is better than wealth on unknown ways, and in grief a refuge he gives. A better burden may no man bear, for wanderings wide than wisdom. Worse food for the journey he brings not afield than an over-drinking of ale. There's no greater reward than wisdom. It's better than money, better than power, better than anything. Because wisdom is the sum of all things. And then in the 11th stanza, it says, worse food for the journey he brings not afield than an over-drinking of ale. It talks about this in the next couple of stanzas, so I'll read those before explaining it. Less good there lies than most believe in ale for mortal men, for the more he drinks, the less does man of his mind over mastery hold. Over beer the bird of forgetfulness broods, and steals the minds of men. With the heron's feathers fettered I lay, and in Gunla's house I held. Drunk I was dead drunk, when with Fjalar wise I was. 'Tis the best of drinking if one brings home his wisdom with him. Drinking can be dangerous. The more you drink, the less you think, the more you forget. That's essentially what it tries to say here. It goes on to talk about that more later. Let's skip on to 15 now. The son of a king shall be silent and wise, and bold in battle as well. Bravely and gladly a man shall go, till the day of his death is come. The sluggard believes he shall live forever, if the fight he faces not. But age shall not grant him the gift of peace, though spears may spare his life. 15, saying, the son of a king shall be silent and wise, but bold in battle as well. No matter what a man's stance or social status is, still should go bravely and gladly into battle without any hesitation. 16. The sluggard believes he shall live forever, if the fight he faces not. Sluggard, lazy, worthless, honorless man, believes that if he doesn't go into battle, then he won't be killed and will live a peaceful life. But age shall not grant him the gift of peace, though spears may spare his life. That's essentially talking against a straw death. Just saying it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Spending your whole life hiding from conflict to get peace won't ever give you peace. 17 says, the fool is agape when he comes to the feast. He stammers or else is still. But soon if he gets a drink is it seen, what the mind of the man is like. This is essentially the concept of vino veritas, where it's you don't really know what a man believes or what a man is talking about until he's otherwise inebriated. He can keep himself silent and still, but when he starts getting drunk, his inhibitions start to go away, and you really see what kind of man he is. He alone is aware who has wandered wide, and far abroad has fared. How great a mind is guided by him, the wealth of wisdom has. Shun not the mead, but drink in measure. Speak to the point or be still. For rudeness none shall rightly blame thee, if soon thy bed thou seekest. One of my favorite parts of the Havamal. It says, shun not the mead, but drink in measure. Don't overindulge. It's okay, but know your limits. Speak to the point or be still. One of the most important lessons I ever took from the majority of the Havamal. Speak plainly, say what you mean. For rudeness none shall rightly blame thee, if soon thy bed thou seekest. No one's going to, it's such a vulgar way to put it, but no one's going to blame you, no one's going to think that you're a wimp or a wuss if you know your own limits and know when it's time to stop. And now I have to stop this one because I'm going over the time limit, but I'll continue with a couple more videos after.